Okay, so here we are, just about to start Parthenon. I've assigned Lemnos as the Archon, which means they're going to get to make some decisions. Let's see how things start going. First, there's an event going to come out. Okay? Year 1 event, Benevolent Deity. Poseidon looks up with favor upon the struggling islands of the Aegean. The first storm hazard drawn each season is treated as a safe journey. Now that's going to be all year. And that's kind of a nice event to have at the beginning of the game, I guess. Now we go to production, and we'll look at each island. These guys have an olive and a wool. So they get these resources. Here, grapes and a timber. These are all going to be basic resources at the beginning. Olive and wool. Hey, somebody else had that, didn't they? Oh, crap. Okay, now I sort through with one hand because I only have one available to me right now. He's going to get an ore and a grain. And I can already see that this is going to be hard to manage space-wise. This guy is going to get grapes and timber. I may well be adding another table in a moment because access and roads and Crete is going to get grain and ore. And we'll see how that works. Okay, so here we go. Island trade. Well, base costs of these villages is just 1. And it looks to me like that's where we want to go right now, because trading is just not going to work well here. Nothing's cheap. These things are all going to require more expenses. Building additional ships costs gold. I'm not going to be able to get that easily. Even if I go for a sail, what do I need? Well, 2 basic could give me gold. I could grab that right away. But I think everybody's going to want to build another village, probably. That's probably where their advantage is going to come right now. So, I don't think anybody wants trade. Yeah, that was nice. And I don't want to look at these because those are reserve cards. Great. Alright. So let's look at the next action. We're not going to actually do trade. Nobody's going to journey anywhere. There's nowhere to go. I mean, seriously, this is the first turn. Hazard, fleet trade, not going to happen. Return. Now we're going to get to some building. Okay. Well, the Archon wants to assign other people to build before him, just in case it's important. But let's see what we got here. This guy's got olives and wool. So here's the thing. What's he going to want? Well, with an olive and a wool, there's nothing clearly advantageous. The only thing that I can say is I probably want to produce other kinds of things. Right now I have an olive and a wool. I have available a lot of these. Grain costs me 3 cards though. Olive, getting an additional olive only costs me 1 card. So I'm going to build 2 more olive towns. It's going to make me big on those, and I'll get back to everyone else as I go. I'll pause it here. But it seems to me specializing is just what this game is about, and there's no reason, you know, even if I can trade with other people, that's great. If I can't, at least I've got more commodities to trade in the neighboring lands. So I definitely want to have quantity, and I'm going to go for the most as I can, and I think everybody's going to do that. come back in a moment. And that's exactly what each player did. Crete has triple grapes, triple timber and Rhodes, triple ore here in Naxos, triple wool in Chios, and Lemnos triple grape. It's the same setup as they have, except they have timber instead of ore. That means grapes are a little bit more common than everything else, which is kind of a shame for those two players, but that's okay. So now discarding, nobody feels like there's really a reason well, nobody has any cards to discard. They've spent all their points for everything. So let's go to the Archon phase. And here, it gets kind of interesting. How am I going to select at this point? Well, there's certainly a slight advantage to being an Archon. It didn't help Lemnos this turn. It might not help anyone next turn. This particular event doesn't really matter. So it's kind of a tough decision, and I'm just going to kind of look at people and try to see, well, why would anybody give a card to someone else? They have to, but what convinces them? And it may be some agreement to trade, okay? Well, what can we do in the upcoming? Let's take a look here. We need to get selections of one of each basic to get to a workshop. Now, a workshop is going to allow you to build one of the rare objects, and given the fact that one thing, papyrus, and I don't remember it in the rules, but it specifies here, fleets trading here may buy papyrus. My guess is you can't get papyrus anywhere else. Ah yes, papyrus Egypt only. So, yeah, it's not covered in the rules, of course, but it's going to be on the player aids. And that's kind of, I got my grumps about that, but let's leave that be. My grumps may be based on other things, at least as much as on the game itself. So, anyway, one goal might be get your basic resources. Another goal is, remember the rules said, hey, you want to get a second ship. Okay, let's say I get a second ship. That seems like not as so pressing given this special Poseidon card that's out here with the storms not coming. That makes it feel a little less dangerous, and maybe we can cut some deals. So right now, everybody's kind of looking at, all right, are there people I can work with to generate so that I can get one of each resource? What do I need? Well, what I need, everybody produces, right? We've got 6 players and 6 basic resources. How come 2 people produce grapes then? What's the rare one? Olives, grapes, wool, ore, timber, a grain. And I read wrong. Okay, so they're evenly distributed. Cool. Alright. He's got a grain village. Grape, grain, it all looks the same to me. Okay, try making wine out of grain. Yeah. All right. So yeah, each of them is out there. So it seems to me that there's sort of a general deal, kind of, that should coalesce anyway. I'm just gonna roll a die for who they end up deciding is Archon. I don't feel like there's any compelling reason to pick anyone. Just like I did last turn. And Naxos is going to be Archon. And we're going to say he was able to somehow convince people for it. Or it could just be nobody's got any real gold there. I'm not sure what that reveals about his personality yet. Alright. And now we're going to start a new turn. And we go over and pull our new season. And we pull another event. And this one's a year one. Egyptian shipyards, once per game. Each island that visits Egypt can sell its timber and or wool for a gold each. These goods may not be bought in Egypt this year. Discard Egypt's harbor status card for the entire year. Well, that's a big bonus for anyone. Oh, I don't know where this goes. I don't know if it's visible. See that in a moment, but that's a big bonus for anyone with those goods. We're talking about timber and wool are worth a gold each. Now that's immediately made things good for the people who produce that. And we'll go to production and people are just going to produce their stuff. Who's getting the timber and what wool is it? He's got one wool, he's got one timber. But this guy's got 3 and 3. So that's going to destabilize the economy because people are going to want to sell those. Get the cash. What's gold going to be good for? Well, you can exchange gold for other commodities there. It's in the foreign land, and gold allows you to get 2 basic, a rare for 2 gold, or special abilities, and remember you can get papyrus in Egypt. Right now people's goals are the workshops for the most part, but that extra gold, that's too big a deal to pass up, I think. So we'll see where that goes. So basically the extent of the trading was almost a 3-player alliance. Skyros and Lemnos cut a quick deal, a grape for an olive. Sounds great. No reason not to. Naxos said, hey, I got ore. I'm interested in both those, and grabbed them both. That left poor Crete out here sitting on grain, which people may be interested in, right? Maybe I grabbed the wrong shit. Maybe I grabbed grapes because I can't read. Alright, sitting on grain, which he would like to trade with some of the other players. They're willing to do this if they've got pairs. Are they willing to trade? Yeah, they're willing to trade their main thing one-on-one. So it's going to be a 4-way deal, throwing Naxos, throwing Crete, Lemnos, and Skyros, where they're all trading. The people with the wool and the timber in quantity are not going to trade, are not going to be allowed into the trade. They've got to make a decision. Are they going to Egypt this turn? Because let's look at Chios. He's sitting on 3 wool. That's 3 gold this turn. But if he throws his olives out, it's 3 gold next turn with 3 more gold next turn. Now, can he haul 6 gold back? Yeah, he can. 6 gold doesn't really help him right off the bat, though, right? However, he can't build a ship in that case. So he's got a number of options to balance here because of this cool card for him. Other people who might be going there are very interested in, you know, trading a pair of wool for a pair of gold. That's great for them. But some of the other trades, not so clearly advantageous. So these guys who are sitting on 3, who are the most bonused, could sail over there now, get 3 gold real quick, maybe turn some of that in for more resources and make an exchange more rapidly than anyone else. Nobody's got more than 4 resources in their hand right now, which basically means they could extend into other villages, or that's about it unless they go trading. So people have to make their decisions right now, what they want and why they want it. Alright, well, I'm going to have to start looking at the cards and seeing why people are going to choose certain things. We'll see. Well, everyone decided not to trade again, not to sail out to go on any expeditions. The reason being, another production turn, they're going to double their value in these special gold producing things. So they want to do it next turn, and they found things they can build each that they're willing to do this turn. Nobody saw an advantage to getting the gold early, or what the gold can produce early, because they can do other things with their cards. The people who can't do other things with their cards and are going to have to drop a card are the ones who produce the timber and the 3 wool. They're simply not going to be allowed. They're going to have to get rid of one of their cards. They have 4 cards, 3 of them turn into gold. But
In both cases, they saw that as an advantage, particularly looking at they can get an academy, which will give them one of the philosophies. Some of those look good. And there may be other options available to them. We'll see. Other people are looking at, I want to make that trade at the most advantageous time, and I can build a village now or whatever. And in fact, we're going to get to that, the build phase, and we'll see what they build in a moment. So I've taken care of both discards and builds. And for the builds, most of the people have built their secondary village. In some cases, this is a real bonus because their secondary village is, for example, for this guy, timber. So he's going to get 2 timber, wool here. This guy built his tertiary village, meaning he spent 3 basic different resources to get a timber village. Reason? He's going to get that gold off of that next turn. The 2 people with the bonuses had to throw a card. The people with triple of 1 because they held on it. And no one had a bonus wool village. This is the guy who had it, and he had a timber village, so he bought the cheaper one to turn the money around that way. Okay, now we have the election for the Archon, and what I'm seeing is kind of an alliance forming here between Lemnos and Skyros, one between Naxos and Crete. Naxos is going to give Crete its cards, Lemnos is going to give Skyros its card. They're just exchanging. Chios and Rhodes, the 2 bonus people, say, hey, let's exchange too. Well, that leaves it at 6. Nobody could come to the kind of agreement that would put 2 cards in one hand. You can't hold your own card, so you can't just seek one other person's help and get a bonus that way. So this time Crete will be the Archon. And we'll go to the next turn, but I'm going to load this one up because it's taken long enough already. We made it halfway through the first turn.